Ever get that feeling? You know, like you're just drowning in information, articles, videos, podcasts, everybody promising like the secrets to the universe, all in like 5 minutes or less. Well, today's deep dive, it isn't about shortcuts. No, no. But it asks about, well, how do we even grapple with this like mind-blowing amount of information, you know? We're diving into AI adventures in the Library of Babel. It's an essay by AI researcher Jaron Collins, and honestly, the title alone, total pause your life and listen material. So you're probably thinking, what's the connection here? AI and a library. And more importantly, why should you even care? Well, buckle up. Collins takes us on a wild ride. Okay, so picture this. The Library of Babel. Now, this isn't like your grandma's cozy reading nook, okay? This library, it's a whole fictional concept. It's this place, and it houses every single book imaginable. Everything. One, every story, every scientific discovery, even like your grocery list, scribbled on a napkin, it's all there. In the Library of Babel. Now, Collins, he uses this like mind-bending idea as a starting point, right? To explore this whole potential of AI. And here's where things get really interesting, like seriously interesting. He's arguing that AI, in a way, it's already letting us tap into a version of this infinite library. I don't know about you, but one of the examples that just like stopped me in my tracks was how Collins used these AI tools, right, to generate these incredibly detailed interactive stories. He talks of creating like a text-based adventure game, but it's set in Dickensian London. And the detail he describes, I mean, down to the cobblestone streets and like even the smell of chimney smoke. Incredible.
You know what's so fascinating about that example is that it really highlights the power of generative AI. And it's not just a tool for like churning out content, you know. It's a way to synthesize these vast amounts of information, but then like reassemble it in ways that are actually compelling. Imagine, for instance, a neural network. And it's ingested, right? Every single word Charles Dickens ever wrote.
Yeah.
It can then use all that knowledge to generate a completely new story, its own unique plot, characters, the whole thing. But it's written in a way that feels authentically Dickensian.
So it's not just about like copying existing content. It's about the AI. It's
Right.
learning the patterns, the structures of a particular style of a world, and then using all that to create something new.
Exactly. And that's what makes generative AI so different from, say, just a regular search engine. A search engine that can retrieve information that's already out there. But generative AI, it takes what it's learned and it creates something totally new, a story, a piece of music, even a scientific theory, you know? It's like giving a master artist this brand new set of paints and brushes. There's still the creative force, but the tools, right? They just open up this whole new world of possibilities.
But, you know, Collins, he doesn't shy away from like the potential downsides of this whole AI content explosion thing. He actually uses this like really striking metaphor. He compares it to fool's gold, and we all know, right, fool's gold, it might sparkle, might shine, but ultimately worth. So is Colin saying that like all this AI generated content, it's like similarly deceptive, like we're so busy being dazzled by the, you know, the shiny surface that we miss the fact that there's no real substance underneath?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's so easy to get like swept up in the sheer volume of content AI can create, right?
Yeah.
But Collins, he's urging us to like take a step back and ask, what's the value here really? Is this truly original or is it just like a clever remix? You know, old ideas in a new package.
So it's not enough for AI to like just nail the style or crank out endless variations on a theme. We need to be like way more discerning about what we actually consider valuable, what we consider creative.
Right. And that's where we come in. The human element, it becomes even more crucial. AI, incredible tool for exploration, for pushing boundaries, absolutely. But we're the ones who decide what resonates, what matters, what, you know, actually moves us.
This reminds me of like there was this one part in the essay Collins was talking about the difference between information and knowledge. And he's arguing that just because we have access to more information than ever, right, with the internet and everything, it doesn't mean we're any wiser. It's the human ability, you know, to synthesize, to connect the dots, to find meaning in the chaos. That's what defines knowledge.
Yeah, it's a really important distinction. Think back to that Library of Babel idea.
Yeah.
Just because you could theoretically walk in there and like pull any book off the shelf doesn't automatically make you a genius, right? It's how you navigate that library, what questions you ask, the connections you make. That's what really matters.
It's like having all the ingredients for like some gourmet meal, but they're just scattered across your kitchen floor. You still need a recipe. You need a chef. You need someone who actually knows what tastes good to turn that mess into something delicious.
Exactly. That's us. We're the chefs and AI. It's a powerful new set of kitchen tools.
Yeah.
But we have to be mindful how we use them.
Okay, so we've established AI, it can create this convincing illusion of like infinite knowledge, right? But we can't just be passive consumers. We have to be discerning and creators too, right? So, how does this actually work in the real world? Let's talk about the ways AI is already impacting creative fields like right now. So, we've been talking about how AI could like totally reshape creative fields, right? And Collins, he gives some pretty wild examples like he talks about AI that can write news articles, compose music, but like
Mm.
in all these different styles, even design levels for video games. And okay, this is what got me, all right? He's saying this isn't like some far off sci-fi thing. This is happening now.
Right. And this is where it gets real, for you. Think about your own work, like your creative process. What are those tasks? The ones that feel repetitive, the ones that just suck up all your time and energy. What if, and just hear me out, what if you could hand those off to AI? And then you're free. You can focus on the parts that actually need your skills, your vision.
So it's not about AI like taking over completely. It's more like changing how we think about creativity, period.
Exactly. Collins calls it, get this, the drudgery of creation
Mm.
in AI. It could free us from that for good. It's like instead of a writer, agonizing over every single sentence, they can have AI kick out a few different options. Then just pick the best one.
Or think about a musician. Instead of getting lost in the weeds of it all, the arranging, the instruments, they could use AI to like play around with different sounds.
Yeah.
And then, fine tune it from there
Yeah.
based on their taste, their gut.
Yeah. See, it's like AI becomes your partner, this tool that makes your creativity better, stronger, not something that replaces it.
Right, right. And that takes us back to like the core of what Collins is saying. It's not about AI just churning out endless stuff. It's about what it lets us do as humans. It pushes us to reach this whole other level of knowledge, of creativity. Like he says at the end, and this really stuck with me, he says, the Library of Babel, it gives us the answer, but it's a paradox. Having infinite books, it doesn't give you infinite knowledge. Because knowledge, it needs curious minds. It needs us to explore, to figure things out. Without that, an endless library. It's just a tomb full of books no one's ever going to read. So as we wrap up, our deep dive here into this AI-powered library, I gotta ask, how are you gonna handle it? This whole new world, right? Where the possibilities are kind of limitless? Are you gonna let yourself drown in it all? Or are you gonna be the explorer, the one who decides what matters in a world where information just never stops? Something to think about, right?